Stop exactly what you are doing. Set the phone down. Give me the 1 minute you thought I was angry about. If you scroll past this, you will walk into another year of carrying a weight I never gave you. You will keep running until your spirit completely breaks. I am standing right here, and I refuse to let you walk away from the exact thing you have been begging for. My beloved child, you keep moving from room to room because you are terrified of the quiet. You fill your house with sound from the very moment you wake up. You think you are just busy, but you are hiding. I am going to tell you the real reason you cannot sit still. It is not what you think, and it is not a flaw in your busy character. I am not speaking to a crowd today. I am speaking directly to you. I have watched you avoid my quiet for months, and I know exactly why you do it. You think I am disappointed in your lack of perfect prayer. I am never disappointed. I have never asked you for a flawless performance or a long religious speech. In the next few minutes, you will understand the actual thief of your silence. You will feel the heavy guilt come completely off your weary shoulders, and you will know exactly how to enter my presence without a rehearsed speech. The door is still wide open for you, but you must stop moving right now because this moment is exactly what you need. Type yes if you are giving me this minute. Do it now. I read what my children write, and I want you to officially claim this moment before it passes. Let this place know you are finally stopping. You have run far enough, and the endless running has only made you feel more profoundly alone in your own house. Let me describe your ordinary morning. You open your eyes and immediately reach for a glowing screen. You turn on a voice or a loud song before you even make the daily coffee. You cannot endure 10 quiet seconds of an empty room. You call it a modern daily habit, but I am telling you that it is never a simple habit. The noise is a shelter you built to avoid sitting alone with me. You built it because you firmly believe that sitting alone with me means facing your own deep failures. You think the silence will loudly judge you, but that is only the surface of the lie, and the truth underneath it is much heavier. I saw you clearly last night. You lay in bed and could not form a single word of prayer. You felt so incredibly guilty. You thought I was turning my face away from you because your words were messy and your tired mind was constantly wandering. You honestly believed your exhaustion was an unforgivable insult to heaven. The one who keeps running is always the most exhausted. You are tired in a way that regular sleep simply does not reach. You wake up drained, you push through the hard afternoon, and you crash heavily in the dark. You constantly tell yourself you just need more strict personal discipline to finally fix this mess. You are terrified that if you finally slow down, all the sadness you have ignored will catch up to you. You stay busy to outrun your own aching heart. You volunteer for extra tasks. You say yes to people who do not even appreciate your profound sacrifice. You are protecting a wound by pretending it does not exist. I am not offended by your messy prayers. I am not angry about the days you fell entirely silent. Silence is a language I understand perfectly well. When you sit in the dark and cannot speak, I am translating every single heavy sigh into a prayer that reaches my throne. You do not have to perform for me, but discipline is not the cure for a soul that feels entirely unsafe. You have been running from the quiet because you think I am waiting there to demand an absolute explanation. I am not waiting with a strict ledger. I am waiting with a resting place, and I want you to step into it with me right now. My weary one, the quiet is not a courtroom, it is a sanctuary. I am going to gently dismantle the lie that keeps you frantically busy. I am going to show you how to rest without feeling completely useless. The peace you have been desperately chasing is standing right in front of you. Let me tell you exactly what happened last night. You walked into your dark bedroom feeling completely empty. The house was finally quiet after a long day of serving everyone else. You pulled the blanket up and closed your heavy eyes. And immediately, a sharp guilt hit your chest because you realized you had not prayed. You felt like a massive disappointment. You told yourself you would do better tomorrow. You promised me that you would wake up early to read and speak with me properly. But even as you made the promise, you knew you were too exhausted to keep it. You lay there in the dark, feeling entirely unworthy of my love. You thought I was standing over your bed shaking my head. You measured your faith by the words you failed to say. You counted the days since you last had a deep and meaningful conversation with me. The number frightened you. You concluded that your spiritual life was completely falling apart. You believed you were drifting so far away that I could barely see you anymore. You were wrong. My beloved child, I want to gently correct the lie you have been believing. Your silent exhaustion is not a sin. It is simply exhaustion. When you fall asleep in the middle of a sentence, I do not mark it as a failure in heaven. I watch you sleep with the absolute tenderness of a father watching a very tired child. You have convinced yourself that I demand a formal presentation. You think my presence is a strict office you must dress up to enter. You mentally rehearse your apologies before you even dare to look in my direction. You say you are sorry for being distant. You apologize for only coming to me when your life is breaking down. Stop apologizing for your profound human weariness. I created your physical body, and I know exactly what it costs to live a single day in your shoes. You carry the emotional weight of your entire family. You manage the schedules and absorb the quiet anxieties of the people you deeply love. You never let them see you crack. You are the one who always answers for everyone else. When their world tilts, they immediately call you to steady it. You fix the problems. You offer the comforting words. But when your own heart is breaking from the strain, you hide in the bathroom so no one has to worry about you. I see the bathroom tears. Nobody in your house knows what it costs to be the one who knows everything, and they do not see the silent calculations you run in your head all day long. They only see the capable version of you who always shows up. But I see the weary one who sits in the car for 5 extra minutes before walking inside. You delay opening the front door because you need to gather yourself into a shape the house can receive, and by the time you finally reach your empty bed, there is absolutely nothing left in your emotional reserve. You are running on empty fumes. You have given everything away, and you have nothing left for me. Do you truly believe I demand poetry from a person who is suffocating? I do not. I have never asked a drowning child to sing a song of praise before I pull them out of the water. Your quiet desperation is already a prayer. The tears you swallow back are the most honest words you could ever offer me. I was in the room on the night you stopped praying out loud. You did not abandon your faith. You simply realized that saying the words aloud and hearing nothing come back cost more energy than you had left. You finished the prayer inside your heavy head, and you quietly decided that I was pulling away from you. I was never pulling away. I moved closer than my voice could even reach. When you cannot find the strength to speak, I am the one holding your silent heart together. You do not have to earn your place in my arms by being perfectly disciplined. I am not measuring your spiritual performance. I am restoring your broken soul. I hear the quiet objection you would never say aloud, and I know it feels like plain honesty to you. You are thinking this holy message was meant for someone much better, someone whose hands are cleaner and whose daily faith held strong. You feel completely unworthy to even sit with me for one single minute. You believe you have failed too many times, but you have deeply misread who this grace is actually for. I do not seek the perfectly ready, I seek the honest. The very fact that you feel unworthy is the open door. You believe this sweet grace belongs to the people who never stumble. It does not. It belongs to the weary ones who are brave enough to show up completely broken. Your tearful honesty is exactly what I have been waiting for. You think you must clean up your messy life before you can approach my throne. You believe your daily doubts disqualify you from receiving my endless love. I am not offended by your desperate doubts. I made the beautiful mind that wrestles with those very questions. Bring your raw hesitation to me. Bring the hard questions you are completely ashamed to ask out loud. I can hold them. You continually call your heavy feeling a profound spiritual failure. You firmly believe your lack of words is a terrible sin. I am telling you it is never a sin. It is profound physical and emotional exhaustion, and it comes from carrying burdens I never asked you to pick up. You have carried the silent grief of everyone around you for years, and your weary body is keeping the heavy score. You did not abandon your deep faith. Your human nervous system simply ran out of energy. When a body is completely drained, it cannot produce joyful songs or elaborate prayers for anyone to hear. I designed your delicate physical frame, and I know its absolute limits. I do not demand a long marathon from a person with a broken leg. I gently ask them to rest. I am going to name this heavy thing you carry. I name it so you can finally stop attacking your own tired mind. This is the unspoken weight. It is the deep grief you swallowed because someone else desperately needed you to be the strong one. It is the terrible fear you hid behind a brave and cheerful smile. The unspoken weight never disappears when you ignore it. It simply relocates into your tired bones. You thought you were successfully hiding the secret pain, but your tightened jaw and your restless nights tell the actual truth. The unspoken weight demands a tremendous amount of daily energy to carry around. That is exactly why you cannot focus when you try to pray. Your mind is completely exhausted from managing the heavy secrets you refuse to put down. The dark enemy wants you to believe this deep exhaustion is your own terrible fault. He uses the constant noise of the frantic world to completely drown out my gentle truth. If you are willing to reject that cruel lie today, I want you to take action. Type that the noise is not my voice. I want you to officially separate yourself from the heavy guilt. Do it right now in the quiet. Now look back at the quiet nights with me. You thought my silence meant I was furiously angry at you. You assumed I walked away because you did not pray correctly. Silence is never my word for rejection. A loving father sitting in the dark beside his sleeping child makes no sound at all, but he is fiercely present, and he is watching over every single breath. You have begged for a loud and undeniable sign from heaven. You wanted a burning bush or a parted sea to prove I still cared. But a loud miracle would only overwhelm a nervous system that is already completely shattered. I give quiet mercy to the weary ones who are deeply overwhelmed. The gentle silence was the only medicine your racing heart could safely absorb. Between your broken whisper and my visible answer, a deep and holy work is being done. I was not ignoring your intense pain, but I was sheltering your weary mind from things you could not handle yet. The silence you hated was actually a blanket of profound protection. I kept the room completely quiet so you could finally learn how to simply breathe again. Notice what your hand automatically does when you walk into an empty house. You reach for the television remote before your coat is even off. And you cannot endure a completely quiet kitchen for even 5 minutes because the sudden silence instantly makes your skin feel tight and anxious. You rush to fill the quiet void. You let the glowing screen run late into the dark night. You fall asleep with random voices speaking to you from a small device. You wake up and immediately search for another loud distraction. The house must always be filled with some kind of human chatter, and you simply cannot drive your car without the radio playing loudly. You tell yourself you simply enjoy the pleasant background sound. You casually say you just like being informed about the busy world around you. You firmly believe you are just a lonely person who needs the comforting illusion of company. My child, none of those logical human excuses are actually true. You are not desperately lonely for digital voices or passing entertainment. You are running from something much closer to home. You think the profound silence is completely empty, but silence is never empty. Silence is a mirror that forces you to look directly at the heavy things you have quietly buried deep inside your soul. You are terrified of what you might see. Here is the hidden truth about your daily habits. A completely full schedule and a loud room are not signs of a full life. They are a heavy wall built carefully to keep out a specific voice. You use the endless sound to drown out the profound questions you are not ready to answer. You are blocking my gentle voice. The constant sound in your house is not mere entertainment. It is a desperate defense mechanism. I am naming this exact pattern for you right now so you can clearly see it. This is the noise shelter. And a deeply weary soul can live behind that thick wall for years without ever realizing the wall is there. Look back at the last 3 years of your incredibly busy life. You proudly called yourself a master of modern multitasking. You thought your constant motion was a clear sign of a highly productive spirit. You told everyone you were just a person who loves getting things done, but you were never actually being productive. You were desperately hiding from your own unhealed pain. You were terrified that if the room went completely silent, you would finally have to hear the deep sadness echoing inside your own heart. You kept moving because stopping meant you would have to feel the ancient grief you never fully processed. You kept running from room to escape the heavy memories. Your severe daily exhaustion was never a sign of your spiritual failure. It was the incredibly heavy cost of running a shelter every single day. Guarding the thick door of your heart requires a massive amount of invisible energy. You are completely drained because keeping the truth out is exhausting work. I do not condemn you for building that safe wall. A frightened child builds a fortress to survive the dark night. You did exactly what you needed to do to survive a season of intense heartache. But the hard season is over now, and you do not need to live inside the loud fortress anymore. The heavy door is wide open. You are entirely safe to step outside. I am not demanding that you instantly change your entire life tonight. I am gently asking for one tiny act of profound courage. When you walk into your quiet house tomorrow, leave the digital screen completely off. Do not reach for the familiar comforting noise, but just let the room remain entirely still. Stand perfectly still in the quiet kitchen and slowly count to 60. Give me the 1 minute you thought I was angry about. That is the only step you need to take right now. Whatever raw feeling rises in those 60 seconds is exactly what I have been waiting to heal, and I will meet you in the quiet. Let me gently reveal a heavy thought you hide from absolutely everyone. You feel an immense wave of guilt because you only pray when your world is actively falling apart. You realize it has been months since you just sat and thanked me for a peaceful day. You wait until the terrifying medical report arrives or the bank account hits zero, and then you finally fall to your weary knees and beg for my immediate help. You do not speak to me when the bright sun is shining. You only cry out when the heavy storm is already tearing the roof off your safe house. You constantly tell yourself you are a terrible hypocrite. You think you are just a selfish user who treats heaven like a massive emergency room. You truly believe I am sitting on my throne, crossing your name off a holy list because of your profound ingratitude. My precious child, you have completely misunderstood my tender heart. I am never angry that you run to me in a sudden crisis. I do not stand at the door demanding a formal apology for your long absence. I am simply glad you finally came home, but I want to show you the exact reason behind your long spiritual silence. Here is the hidden truth about your quiet distance. You avoid my presence not because you lack deep love, but because silence directly exposes your profound hidden exhaustion. You are carrying heavy things I never once asked you to pick up. You carry your grown child's very poor personal choices. You carry your aging parents' unspoken chronic disappointments. You manage the constant emotional climate of a house that is simply never peaceful. You carry another person's heavy mood the exact way a man carries water in his bare arms. It completely soaks him. It spills the whole weary way, and he never actually arrives at his peaceful destination. I am naming this crushing thing right now so you can finally see it clearly. This is the borrowed load. It has completely drained your physical ability to speak. Now look back closely at the long years you bitterly called your ungrateful season. Your quiet distance was never actual rebellion against heaven. Your heavy silence was a desperate physical defense mechanism. When a human body is crushed under the borrowed load, it simply shuts down all non-essential functions to literally survive the hard day. You did not stop praying because you suddenly lost your deep faith. You stopped talking because carrying other people's emotional baggage left you with absolutely no breath for your own tired soul. You were severely overloaded. A loaded soul that keeps walking through the dark is not weak at all. That weary soul is incredibly faithful. I saw your quiet faithfulness the entire time. You have carried the heavy burdens of your entire family for decades. You firmly believed being a good person meant absorbing their endless pain so they would not have to feel it. You thought being strong meant never putting the heavy bags down on the floor. That is a beautiful human sentiment, but it is a terrible spiritual lie. I am officially releasing you from that harsh spiritual contract today. You do not have to carry their heavy choices anymore. You can love them dearly without carrying the exact consequences of their own actions. Setting down what I never gave you is not a cruel abandonment. It is holy obedience. I want you to drop the heavy bags right now. I want you to make a bold declaration in the quiet room today. I want you to clearly separate your core identity from the intense exhaustion you feel inside. Type that I am not what happened. Type it so your own weary eyes can finally see the absolute truth. Do it right now. You are not the sum of the profound exhaustion you feel right now. You are my beloved child, and I am completely taking the heavy load off your aching shoulders today. The prolonged silence you kept was never a terrible sin. It was the only way you knew how to survive the heavy storm. You have carried the bags for so long that your empty hands feel strange tonight. But empty hands are exactly what you need to receive a blessing. I am gently asking you to leave the heavy bags on the floor. Do not pick them up again tomorrow morning. When they ask for your constant help, you can finally say no. Let them carry their own choices. I named the borrowed load so you could permanently recognize it. Now I want to show you the beautiful life that stands on the other side of that heavy door. Come with me to an ordinary morning 6 months from now. The bright sun is just rising. The house is completely still, and you are standing peacefully by the kitchen window. You hold a warm cup of coffee in your bare hand. You look out at the quiet street, and you do not brace your tired shoulders. The deep tightening behind your ribs is entirely gone. You do not mentally run the long list of worries before the day has even opened its eyes. The digital screen stays face down on the counter. You do not feel it pulling at you from across the quiet room, and the profound silence does not frighten you at all. That is the part you cannot easily picture from where you are standing today. You are inside a quiet room with a cup in your hand, and nothing in your mind is frantically running. The house is incredibly peaceful. That beautiful morning is not a foolish dream. That peaceful version of you already exists. That person is not being assembled somewhere far away, out of parts you do not have yet. That person is standing right on the other side of one tiny thing you are still holding with both hands. You know exactly what that heavy thing is. The true distance between you and that peaceful morning is not time, it is permission. And permission is not a magical thing you wait to be handed by a stranger. It is a powerful thing you say out loud in a completely quiet room. Say it tonight before you sleep. Say that this heavy load was never yours to proudly carry. Set it down and go to sleep with completely empty arms. The beautiful morning I just showed you does not have to be desperately chased. It has been walking toward you the whole time. It was only waiting for you to stop carrying what would never fit through its narrow door. And once you step through, the real foundation is poured. Now, we must prepare the solid ground for what comes next. Because a soul that finally puts down a heavy burden will suddenly find itself with an abundance of new strength. You have survived the breaking season. You have walked through the exhausted valley. Now you are entering the building season. I am doing a new thing. I am not simply repairing the broken person you used to be. I am actively forming the powerful person you are about to become. The quiet room you hated is about to become your greatest spiritual weapon. You thought the silence was an empty void. I am telling you the silence is a busy workshop. I am rebuilding your spiritual foundation. Listen to me carefully as the energy shifts. The dark enemy wants you to remain constantly distracted because he knows exactly what happens when you finally get quiet. He knows that a quiet mind can finally hear my distinct voice. He uses the frantic noise of the modern world to steal your divine inheritance. But the theft ends today. You are no longer a helpless victim of a noisy world. You are a child of the highest king, and you have divine authority over the atmosphere of your own home. When you boldly claim your quiet time, you are actively pushing the dark enemy out of your sacred space. Do not let him steal another single minute of your divine peace. I am gathering a massive new strength inside you right now. You can already feel the subtle shift in the warm room. You are standing on the very edge of a massive spiritual breakthrough. The painful preparation took long, weary years, but the sudden release will happen in a holy instant. Keep your heart open. The final piece is arriving. I know what rose in you when I began speaking about building a new season. You are thinking you have heard this all before. You have knelt before. You made a strict promise to pray every single morning. You kept it for 11 days and you broke it on the 12th. And your weary year ended exactly where it began. You feel like a spiritual veteran who has run out of new things to try. You are telling me the honest truth. I will never argue with your own painful history. You lived every single hour of it, and I was holding you for every hour of it. But I want you to hear the profound difference today. What you tried in the past was just human behavior. You desperately reached for the branches. You built a rigid discipline and carried it until your physical strength gave out. Human strength always gives out eventually. That is exactly what human strength is designed to do. It was never meant to hold a massive spiritual weight for that long. I am not asking you to reach for the high branches again. I am speaking of the deep root beneath it. You did not fail, my child. You simply worked faithfully on the wrong layer, and you exhausted yourself for nothing. You thought the heavy door required a perfect combination of eloquent words. You assumed you had to deliver a flawless formal presentation for me to finally listen. You bought into the religious lie that I demand a long speech before I hand out a blessing. I do not. I have never once demanded poetry from a drowning person. I demand absolutely nothing but your honest presence. Think about those times you tried to sit in silence before the anxiety chased you away. I want you to answer me honestly right now. Tell me how long the quiet lasted. Write it down so I can see it. Whether it was 5 seconds or 5 minutes, put the honest number down. You cannot heal a thing until you are finally brave enough to measure exactly how deep the wound really goes. You have spent your entire life preparing massive speeches for me. You rehearsed your apologies in the shower. You organized your desperate requests into neat little categories. And all that intense mental preparation only kept you standing firmly outside my door. You were so busy managing the conversation that you never actually stepped into the room with me. The managing stops today. I am destroying the heavy religious yoke you placed on your own neck. The dark enemy loves it when you treat prayer like a complicated corporate meeting. He knows that if he makes the rules impossible, you will eventually just stop showing up. He convinced you that a short and messy prayer is an insult to my throne. I am completely overturning that toxic lie right now. Look at the sheer size of the universe I hold together. Do you truly believe my eternal plans depend on your perfect grammar? Do you think my vast mercy is somehow restricted by your inability to focus for an hour? My grace is infinitely larger than your distracted mind. I am not a strict accountant measuring your spiritual performance. I am a father longing for his weary child. We are moving into the holy territory now. I am about to ask you for something so incredibly small that your logical mind will try to reject it. Your pride wants a difficult religious task so you can feel like you earned your spiritual healing. I am not giving you a difficult task. I am stripping away every single complicated requirement until only the bare foundation remains. The heavy curtain is tearing. The religious rules are burning to the ground. I am stepping directly into your messy living room. I do not want your hour. I do not want your lengthy explanations. I do not want the carefully crafted version of your pain. I want the raw exhaustion. I want the heavy sigh. I want the silence. Get ready, beloved. The final door is opening right now. I am ending the argument today, not softening it, ending it. You have believed that returning to me requires a massive spiritual event, and you thought you needed a completely clear mind and a perfect hour of dedicated silence. You do not. I am destroying that impossible religious standard right now so you can finally breathe. You have avoided me because you thought the entry fee was too high. Here is the plain truth without any religious wrapping. The door back to my presence does not cost an hour. It costs exactly 60 seconds. I am giving this a name so you never forget it, because this one concept will change the way you interact with heaven for the rest of your life. This is the 1 minute rest. 1 single minute of raw honesty is vastly more powerful than 1,000 hours of empty religious performance. 1 minute destroys the heavy wall of noise you built. You ran into the loud noise because you thought the silence would demand everything from you. The noise was never actually protecting you from my judgment. It was only keeping you exhausted. I am officially closing that broken shelter today. You do not need to hide behind a television screen or a constantly busy schedule anymore, because the quiet is completely safe and I am standing right in the middle of it. You are finally free. Hear me clearly in the deepest part of your tired soul. Every time you felt entirely numb, I was holding you. Every time you could not find a single holy word, I was holding you. Every time you fell asleep before you could even say my name, I was holding you. You were never behind. You were never the one who missed the divine mark, and you were never a terrible disappointment to the angels in heaven. You were simply exhausted, and I am the God of the exhausted. You have spent years evaluating your deep faith by the sheer volume of your spoken words. But the most powerful prayers in history were prayed without a single sound. When your weary body sinks into a chair and you finally stop pretending to be strong, heaven pays absolute attention. 1 minute of dropping your guard is worth more than a decade of faking your spiritual strength. I see the real you. I do not want your massive promises today. I absolutely refuse to let you make another vow you cannot keep. Give me 60 seconds. Stand in your messy kitchen and just let your heavy shoulders drop. Do not say a single word unless a tear falls first. 60 seconds of quiet surrender will completely rewrite the atmosphere of your house, and it will permanently break the old agreement of silent shame. The heavy guilt you carry about your prayer life is entirely broken. I cancel it. I wipe the rigid ledger completely clean. You do not owe me a profound apology for the days you simply could not speak, because your silent survival was a massive testament to the strength I placed inside your human bones. Now you can finally stop surviving and begin to actually rest. The door is open. This is not a complicated theological lesson. It is a direct rescue mission for a drowning child. The deep waters of anxiety have pulled you under for the very last time. When you give me that first honest minute, I will immediately fill it with a peace that human logic cannot ever explain. You will feel the exact moment the heavy chains fall off your tired mind. There is one more thing I have not told you yet. I have been holding it back on purpose because your mind was too frantic to hear it an hour ago. It is a specific sentence about your upcoming season. I will call it the last thing I kept. You will not receive it right now. You will receive it after the final blessing. So do not go anywhere when it sounds like I am bringing this message to a close. That is exactly where it lives. The false guilt is completely gone. The heavy religious pressure is entirely dead. I have spoken it over your tired life, and no dark enemy can ever reverse the holy decree I just made. Now lift your heavy head. Say the words out loud. Walk in this new freedom. The heavy chains are completely broken. You do not have to earn my love with exhausting religious routines, because the grace I offer you has already covered every single one of your perceived failures. 1 minute is truly enough to start again. You can stand in your kitchen right now and simply breathe. I am taking the crushing weight off your weary shoulders today, and you will never have to pick up that impossible burden again. Every time you sat in the dark and felt like a massive disappointment to heaven, I was holding you tightly through the entire silent ordeal. I saw every tear you swallowed back. Not one of them was wasted. You thought your brokenness was pushing me away, but your honest brokenness is the exact thing that drew me closer to you. You are completely safe in my arms. Step into the quiet room without any profound fear today, because you no longer carry the heavy spiritual debt that made you hide from me. You do not need to prepare a formal apology before you sit down. I canceled the strict debt the moment you walked in. Your silence is no longer an accusation against your faith. Your silence is now a holy resting place. The heavy spiritual warfare is done. I have permanently removed the heavy religious burden from your tired mind, so you can finally experience the deep rest you have been desperately searching for. But you must actively choose to leave the frantic noise behind. The door is wide open for you right now. I will not force you to walk through it, because genuine love always leaves room for your own willing response. Hear my serious warning before you go. There is a terrible cost to living another year in constant distraction. If you go back to the loud noise, you will quickly lose the profound clarity I just gave you, and the old weary patterns will violently take over your life again. You will wake up tomorrow morning and immediately reach for a digital screen. The old heavy anxiety will quickly settle back into your chest. Do not let that happen. I am standing between you and that exhausting future right now. I am not moving from this spot, but you have to stay where my hand can reach you. If you choose to keep running from the quiet, your body will eventually break down, and the people who rely on your endless strength will watch you slowly fall apart. That is the painful truth. I am warning you gently but very firmly today. Do not walk out of this holy moment and return to your frantic habits. If you do, you will spend the next year begging me for the exact peace that was sitting right in front of you tonight. On the day you desperately need rest, you will only find exhaustion. Do not choose the exhaustion. The constant noise of the world will drain your remaining strength until you have nothing left to give to the people you love. You will feel deeply alone even when your house is full. You will lose the precious ability to hear my comforting voice. I do not want you to live another weary month in that dark prison. You have suffered enough under that heavy yoke. I am telling you this because fear is the only thing loud enough to make you stop running today. I refuse to let you walk blindly back into the furious storm. I am standing right here to pull you out of the rushing water. You must make a firm decision to embrace the quiet right now. The storm will break you. I am not warning you about a dark spiritual enemy tonight, but I am warning you about a deeply destructive daily habit that steals your peace. Do not close this message and immediately turn on the television. Do not fill the empty space with meaningless human chatter, because that space is where I am pouring out a massive blessing for you. Give your weary mind the profound rest it craves. If none of this has reached your heavy heart tonight, you do not have to force a fake response, because genuine healing can never be rushed by human expectations. That is entirely fine with me. I am not offended by your raw hesitation, and I am certainly not going anywhere. I will wait patiently until you are finally tired of running from my gentle voice. Let the heavy words rest now. I want to speak to you the way a loving father speaks at the end of a very long day. I am lowering my voice for this last part, because it is not instruction or correction. It is a profound blessing. You came into this moment carrying a massive burden you thought you had to hide from me. You believed the silence would loudly expose your human failures. But you are walking out differently. The quiet room is no longer your harsh judge. It is your holy rest. I pour my deep peace over your exhausted mind today. I bless your quiet mornings and your dark, restless nights. I bless the heavy hands that have worked so hard for people who forgot to say thank you. When you wake up tomorrow, the frantic urge to fill the empty air with endless noise will be gone. The desperate need to distract your own aching heart is completely broken. You will sit with me in the absolute stillness, and you will finally feel completely safe inside your own house. You do not lack profound love, my child. You only lack permission to be tired. And I am giving you that permanent permission right now. You are allowed to be incredibly weak. You are allowed to let the heavy tears fall without quickly wiping them away to look strong for the demanding world. Now I will give you the last thing I kept. I told you there was one specific sentence I was holding back until the very end, because your frantic mind could not have carried it an hour ago. If I had said it earlier, you would have desperately argued with me. But your defensive walls are down now, and your heart is finally open enough to receive it. Here is the sentence, and it belongs to you by name. The perfect version of you that you have been trying to become does not actually exist. I never wanted that flawless person. I only ever wanted the broken one. I only ever wanted you. Let that single truth shatter the thick wall you built. You have spent your entire life auditioning for a place you already belong to. You do not have to perform for heaven anymore. Your raw exhaustion is the only sacrifice I will ever ask you to bring to my table. I am holding you right now, and I am not letting go. The profound silence you ran from is actually my arms wrapping tightly around your weary chest. You can finally stop fighting your own natural physical limitations. I am asking you to do one small thing before you put this digital device down. Give me the 1 minute you thought I was angry about. Do not wait for tomorrow morning. Do it right here. Close your tired eyes. Let your tight shoulders drop completely. Take one incredibly deep breath. Do not say a single formal prayer. Do not apologize for being distant. Just breathe in the quiet air and let my deep love wash over your weary bones. 60 seconds of profound stillness is all it takes to begin again. I am healing the deep fractures in your anxious mind while you simply sit there. Every second you spend resting in my presence is rebuilding the foundation the dark enemy tried to destroy. You are completely safe. You are no longer the one who desperately runs from the silence. You are the one who steps into it with absolute confidence. I want you to claim this new reality before the busy world tries to steal it back from you in the bright morning. When you write it down where others can read it, you stop being someone who just heard this message. You permanently become someone who lived it. Make your firm declaration right now. Write that I say yes with my life. Type it so your own eyes can see the physical evidence of your new spiritual freedom. I read what my children write, and I will see your beautiful name written there. Let this place know you stayed to the very end. The heavy cycle of endless running is officially broken in your family line today. There is absolutely nothing you have to carry out of this room tonight. Not a heavy task, not a strict promise, and not a rigid plan you will feel guilty about by the busy weekend. Only the deep knowledge that you were seen completely, on a night when you had almost stopped expecting to be. I am with you in the quiet kitchen. I am with you in the dark bedroom. I will be with you when the sun rises and the busy world demands your attention again. You will carry my profound peace into every loud room you enter tomorrow. Walk into the quiet room right now. Do not bring your heavy bags. Rest.